So this is the standard form of symmetric simultaneous linear differential equation, right? Symmetric plus simultaneous. That means when we consider any two groups, then we'll get the two differential equations separately and we are solving them in terms of x, y, z. So here the standard form of symmetric linear differential equation is this: dx by capital P is equal to dy by q is equal to dz by r. Is the screen visible? Hello, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So symmetric linear differential equation is of this form, where capital P, Q, R are the functions of x, y, z, right? And we are finding the solution of this symmetric linear differential equation by equating any two ratios. If we are applying the method of grouping, then in method of grouping, we are considering the groups. We are equating the groups, ratios, such that third variable is eliminated, right? Suppose if I consider first and second, then z will be third variable, or the function of z will be third variable, and it should be eliminated throughout. Then only we can consider first and second group. Similarly, second, third, first, third, so that third variable must be eliminated. Agar aisa possible hai, then only we can consider those two ratios, and by getting the variable separable form from those two ratios, we integrate it, we'll get the first solution. Then to find the second solution, again we are considering other two ratios such that the third variable is eliminated, isn't it? We cannot consider the same ratio. So once we eliminate the third variable, we consider its variable separable form and we integrate it, we'll get the solution. Now, the first solution and second solution are linearly independent. They must be linearly independent. Agar wo dependent hai, then that is of no use, because we know when some values or functions are multiples of each other, then their count we are considering to be 1, isn't it? So that is why we are trying to find the two linearly independent solutions. There are actually infinitely many such solutions, but out of those infinitely many, we need only two linearly independent, isn't it? Now, in final examination, it is possibility that you are considering first and second ratio and your friend is considering second and third ratio. So the first solution may be different for both of you, isn't it? And that doesn't mean that the solutions are wrong. It is matter of choice, considering the ratios, isn't it? So that is what the first method of solution of such equations consists of two independent relations, F1 and F2, isn't it? So examples also, I think we have discussed. Now, second method we are discussing as a method of multipliers, right? So let us discuss again. If it is not possible to consider the two groups or two ratios such that third variable is eliminated, agar aisa possible nahi hai method of grouping apply karna, then we apply the method of multipliers. And if it is possible to find solution using one solution also, then we can apply the method of multipliers, isn't it? So in that method, what we are doing, we are selecting set of LMN, set of values, we can say values or variables or the combination of values and variables, isn't it? Values are constant, I can say. So LMN is the, if we select LMN as a set of multipliers such that each of these ratio, that is dx upon p, dy upon q and dz upon r, each of these ratios is equal to the fourth ratio, isn't it? And how that fourth ratio is that L into dx plus m into dy plus n into dz upon lp plus mq plus nr. What we are doing, we are multiplying numerator and denominator by the same factor L, isn't it? L, m, n, and then we are adding numerators and denominators. That will be the fourth ratio, isn't it? So each of these ratio is equal to the fourth ratio such that if the denominator of fourth ratio is equal to 0, isn't it? If the denominator of fourth ratio is equal to 0, then we are considering numerator to be 0. Otherwise, that fourth ratio will be infinite. If the numerator is non-zero, please try to get the things. If the numerator is non-zero, then the fourth ratio will be infinite, isn't it? And that it means that each ratio is infinite, isn't it? It means differential equation is infinite, and that is of no use. We are solving the differential equation means what? We are trying to find the finite values of those variables involved in the differential equation, right? So we must have some finite quantity, isn't it? So to get the finite quantity, we are considering the numerator is also 0, because as we know, if we have 0 by 0 form of any equation, to consider its limit, what we are doing, we are applying the L'Hopital rule, isn't it? So by applying successive L'Hopital rule, we are trying to get the finite quantity or finite limit, isn't it? I hope you have remember, you might have discussed it in M1, I think, L'Hopital rule, isn't it, or M2. So that is why we are considering the numerator to be 0, and once we get the numerator to be 0, we integrate it, we'll get the solution, isn't it? So by considering such set of multiplier, we are trying to find the only two independent solution, and those multipliers must be linearly independent. अगर आप linearly dependent multipliers consider करते हो, then you'll get the linearly dependent solution, and that is of no use, isn't it? So to get the linearly independent solution, our multipliers must be linearly independent, isn't it? So this is how the method of multiply. I think we have discussed one example also. Let us discuss few more examples on method of multipliers. So these are some standard set of multipliers I have given: lmn or lx my mz or l by x m by y n by z or lx square my square nz square, and so on. So there are such infinitely many multipliers, but those must be non-zero. अगर zero होते हैं, then that is of no use again. So I think we have discussed the first equation, first example. Do we have discussed? Please check. Do we have discussed the first?
No.
No. So take the first example. Please take the first example. Solve dx.
We took third one.
Okay.
Sort of third.
Third we have solved.
No, but it was sort of because the square terms were not there.
Okay, only y minus z, z minus x, and x minus y, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So we'll solve that also. So let us solve one by one. These equations are differential equations are very easy symmetric differential equations, and it is possibility now to be asked for 5 to 6 marks, because in earlier pattern rarely there was questions. I think in 2018 examination, May 2018 examination, there was a question on this solution of symmetric linear differential equation only once in 2015 pattern. Is it? So now in 2019 pattern, these are very, very important solution of symmetric LDEs. So let us take the first one. Dx upon x into 2y raised to 4 minus z raised to 4 equal to dy upon y into z raised to 4 minus 2x raised to 4 equal to dz upon z into x raised to 4 minus y raised to 4. And now think over the multipliers. First of all, first set of multiplier. What should be the multiplier? What do you think? Tell me, any one of you. What?
1, 1, 1, 1.
1, 1, 1. Okay. Is it applicable? If I multiply by denominator by 1, then I'll get 2xy raised to 4. 2xy raised to 4. No, I don't think 1, 1, 1, because that 2xy raised to 4 must be cancelled out with another minus 2xy raised to 4, na? And that is not there somewhere. Please check. I think 1, 1, 1 is not applicable. We are having 2xy raised to 4, and here also minus zy raised to 4. So if we cancelled out that x, y, and z, will it be applicable? Check. Cancelled out means 1 by x, 1 by y, and 1 by z. Please check. 1 by x, 1 by y, and 1 by z. Is it applicable? This is how we have to try actually, by trial and error only. We have to think. Is it applicable?
Problem for y by 4. y raised to 4.
Uh-huh. So is it applicable? 1 by x, 1 by and 1 by z?
No.
Is this set of, no? Because we are having 2y raised to 4, right? And do we have minus of y raised to 4 term anywhere? Yes, in the last ratio, we are having minus y raised to 4. So that will get, but we are having 2, na? So let us multiply the third ratio by 2. That means if the multipliers are 1 by x, 1 by y, and 2 by z, check now, 2 by z, will it work?
Yes, sir.
2 by z, please check. 1 by x, 1 by y, and 2 by z. And if we add all the terms, then will it give 0?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Then this is the correct set of multipliers we have chosen, right? 1 by x, 1 by y, and 1 by z. So get the solution corresponding to this. I'm trying on board. I hope board is visible to you. That is dx upon x into 2y raised to 4 minus z raised to 4. Is equal to dy upon y into z raised to z raised to 4 minus 2x raised to 4. Equal to dz upon z into x raised to 4 minus y raised to 4. So I have given the set of first set of multiplier as a 1 by x, 1 by y, and 2 by z, sorry. Isn't it? How I've checked? If I don't have this x, or if I multiply by x inside, I'm having 2xy raised to 4. So do I have the negative of this term, 2xy raised to 4? First of all, y raised to 4 term is there here, and that is multiplying with z, not x, isn't it? So I don't want this x and z also. So don't want means what? I'm dividing numerator by x, isn't it? Here y and here z. So what I'm having? 1 by x, 1 by y, and 1 by z. So if I select 1 by z, then here I'm having 2y raised to 4. That must be cancelled out with this negative of y raised to 4. But that will be minus y raised to 4. That is not 2 times. So that is why I'm multiplying it with 2. That is why 2 by z. So with this set of multiplier, each of these ratio equal to the fourth ratio. I'm writing only the fourth ratio, that is 1 by x into dx plus 1 by y into dy plus 1. Okay, let me check the other terms also, whether other terms are getting cancelled or what. So that is minus z raised to 4 plus z raised to 4. Yes. Now here minus 2x raised to 4
Plus
and plus
2x.
2x. Yes, so it works. That is 2 by z dz is equal to 0, or instead of equal to 0, I am writing the denominator by multiplying 1 by x times this. 1 by x times this means 2y raised to 4 minus z raised to 4 plus 1 by y times this. That means z raised to 4 minus 2x raised to 4 plus 2 by z times this means 2 times x raised to 4 minus 2y raised to 4. Isn't it? So that is why 2y raised to 4, 2y raised to 4 minus z raised to 4 plus z raised to 4 minus 2x raised to 4 plus 2x raised to 4. And therefore denominator is 0. Therefore what we are having, 1 by x dx plus 1 by y dy plus 1 by 2 by z dz upon 0. And therefore numerator we have to consider to be 0. That is therefore 1 by x dx plus 1 by y dy plus 2 by z dz equal to 0. And once we have this, we integrate it, we get the solution. So what is the solution there? 1 by x ka integration, I am directly writing here, integration of this plus constant of integration c1. So here it is log x plus log y plus 2 log z is equal to log of c1. I'm writing log of c1, right? So we merge this log, therefore log of, yes, what should the next term, next step, log of xy z square. That is not xyz, xyz square, because 2 log z is log of z square. So x into y into z square is equal to log of c1, and therefore by taking x, is it visible? Is the board visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore by taking exponentials on both sides, x y z square is equal to c1. That is my first solution. Clear? So this is how we have to get the set of multipliers by trial and error only. There is no any standard specific method to get these multipliers. So now find the second set of multiplier. Yes, do it fast. Second set of multiplier. But I think when I have shared the screen, the board is visible but with mirror image, right? Please check.
Sir, we can see it properly.
Can we see it? Can you see the properly? Is it not
Yes,
the
sir.
mirror image?
No, sir. Sir, in the presentation, you must be able to see as mirror image, but we can't see it.
Okay, fine. So tell me the second set of multiplier fast. What should be the second set? Now don't say the second set is 2 by x, 2 by y and 4 by z. That will be 2 times the first one. Na? So that will be dependent, right? So that should not be the multiplier, second multiplier. Of course, that may be the first but not second multiplier, remember.
Lx cube my cube nz cube.
N or L?
Lx cube my cube nz cube.
What is the N? And why we are considering N also? Is it not simply x cube, y cube and z cube? Or N is equal to 1?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was telling the arbitrary constants also.
All right. So that
It is
may,
x cube y cube z cube.
okay. Is it, will it work? Please check. X cube, y cube, z cube. Other students, check whether
No, sir.
x cube, y cube, z cube. Let me check it out. X cube, y cube and z cube. So when I multiply by x cube, I'll get x raised to 4 term. So 2x raised to 4, y raised to 4. Will it get cancelled with other 2x raised to 4? So x raised to 4 term is there. I want y raised to 4 also. So here, when I multiply by y cube, it will be 2x raised to 4y. Yes, it works. Isn't it? So 2x raised to 4, y raised to 4 will get cancelled with this. Now, x raised to 4, z raised to 4 will get cancelled with this because this is minus and this is plus. Right? Then here, y raised to 4, z raised to 4, that will get cancelled with this. So yes, it works. X cube, y cube, z cube. It works. Please check. Try your own, please, so that you will get the idea what actually we are doing. So x cube into dx plus y cube dy plus z. Please don't just copy the steps. Try to get the things. isn't it? X cube dx plus y cube dy plus z cube dz upon, when I multiply this by x cube, y cube and z cube and add, then what will be the denominator? 2x raised to 4 y raised to 4 minus x raised to 4 z raised to 4 plus y raised to 4 z raised to 4 minus 2 y raised to 4 z raised to 4 plus x raised to 4 z raised to 4 and minus y raised to 4 z raised to 4, isn't it? I'm multiplying by x cube, y cube, z cube and multiplying inside also to each term. So please check. So this will get cancelled with this x raised to 4. Okay, it is 2 times.
Sir,
Sir, we can try x, y minus 1.
Huh? X, y minus 1?
Minus 1.
Okay, but does it not work?
Sir, wait 1 minute.
2z cube.
Sir, in fourth term, sir, it is not z raised to 4, sir. It is y raised to.
X raised to 4 it is?
X raised to
Y,
4.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So this will get cancelled with this, right? Then x raised to 4, z raised to 4 will get cancelled with this, and y raised to 4, z raised to 4. Yes, it works. It works. And someone is saying x,
Sorry,
y.
sir, it was for another question. Second question.
Yes, for
Sir, I
second.
told the
Okay, fine. So here we are getting 0, denominator 0. So x cube dx, y cube dy and z cube dz. Therefore, numerator to be 0, that is x cube dx plus y cube dy plus z cube dz, isn't it? Equal to 0, and therefore by integrating we'll get x raised to 4 by 4, y raised to 4 by 4 and z raised to 4 by 4 is equal to C2. So therefore by multiplying both sides by 4, what I'm getting? X raised to 4 plus y raised to 4 plus z raised to 4 is equal to C2 dash or C2 only. See, the constant doesn't matter. The right hand side is only the constant. So you can write there C2, 4C2 or C2 dash, or let it be C2 only. So this is the second solution, which is completely linearly independent of this. They are not multiples. You can check. So therefore, equation 1 and 2 combinedly represent the solution of this symmetric differential equation. I hope it is clear. Please ask if any doubt. So I think you can try now the second and third. Will not waste our time over the second and third. But if you have a doubt over these two, or further questions are also there, let us try the fourth one. You can ask your doubts for second and third later, isn't it? Can you try the second and third? It is on similar basis. Hello, please unmute your mics.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Huh?
should we do it for homework?
Yes. You please do it as a homework, and please ask me if any doubt later. Now try the fourth one.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Back. Okay, sir.
Right. So try the fourth one, please. Dx upon y is equal to dy upon minus x is equal to dz upon 2x minus 3y.
Three, two, one.
3, 2, 1, right? 3, 2, yes, it works. 3, 2, 1. That is also possible. And what about the second set of multiplier? Yes. What is the second set of multiplier? Or how do we get the second solution? Don't you think that the first or the second solution we can find by method of grouping? Is it not possible?
Yeah.
Because I think I've told you in the last lecture that here while solving the symmetric differential equations, either we can apply the method of grouping or method of multiplier or both or any other method also. There is no any standard method to solve such symmetric LDEs. Only we want the solution, two solutions which are linearly independent. That is what the thing. So here I think the second solution we can get by method of grouping also. If we equate the first two ratios, directly we'll get the variable separable form, right? And once integrate, we'll get the solution. So the first solution we will get by the multipliers 3, 2, 1, and the second solution by method of grouping. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. If you want me to solve on the board, please ask. I can solve. So either first or second solution by method of grouping. Again, the order is not important. Huh? I'm telling by considering the multipliers and then by equating ratio. That doesn't mean the order is important, isn't it? Order is not important. Anyway, we want the two linearly independent solution. So
Sir, second wala karo na, sir. Second.
second means second
Sir,
solution.
yes.
All right. So I'm doing the second. Dx upon y is equal to dy upon minus x. So what I'm saying that by equating the first two ratios, dx upon y is equal to dy upon minus x. So this is not in variable separable form. So let us separate the variables. That is x dx is equal to minus y dy. So this is variable separable form. Integrated with the constant of integration. So the solution is x square by 2. Minus will be plus here, plus y square by 2 is equal to 2c1 or c1 dash, I can say. And that is the solution. Is it okay? Is it clear? Please check. The second solution. And what was the first one? The multipliers were 3, 2, 1. So with this set of multiplier, the numerator becomes 3 dx plus 2 dy plus 1 dz is equal to 0. And therefore, by integrating, it will be 3x plus 2y plus z is equal to c2 or c1, we can say. Is it okay? So these two combinedly represent the solution. Please ask if any doubt. Very easy. Any doubt? Hello?
No, sir. No doubt.
All right. Now, it is for homework, fifth one. Let us try the sixth one. So what I said that either method of grouping or method of multiplier or using one solution or using first solution, find the second solution, or by combination of method of grouping and method of multiplier, or that using first solution second, or let us
Some number?
sixth, sum number 6. Anyhow, we have to get the solution. Anyhow. So I think for the sixth sum, first solution is easy, right? By method of grouping. If we equate the first two ratios, you'll get the first solution directly. That is dx is equal to dy. Isn't it? It is already in variable separable form. So the solution is x minus y is equal to c1. Right? Is it clear? The first solution for the sixth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But can we use that first solution to find the second? Check please. When we are using the first solution to find the second, whenever in all the three ratios, one of the ratio is containing the first solution. If such condition is there that in the three ratios, if one of the ratio is containing the first solution or the function of first solution, then only we can use. So here our first solution is x minus y. And here we can see here the third ratio is containing the term as a x plus y, not x minus y. If x minus y is there, then only we can use. Right? So we cannot use the first solution to find the second. Now tell me the set of multipliers, if it is possible. Why? That should be clear. See, first solution we got as a x minus y is equal to c1. Now we are trying to find the second solution. To find the second solution, method of grouping is not possible. I think so. Please tell me if it is possible. Now we are trying the method of multiplier. So tell me the multipliers. Yes. What are the multipliers? Is it possible to get the multipliers? I think it is not possible to get the multipliers. Am I audible?
Yes.
So it is not possible, I think, to get the multipliers, but still we want the solution. So how to get the solution? Please try to get the thing. The first solution was x minus y is equal to c1. That is okay. All right. Now to get the second solution, please try to get the thing what we are doing. This is completely different method or different example. So we are having dx by 1 is equal to dy upon 1 is equal to dz upon 1 plus 2xy plus 3x square y square 1 plus 2xy plus 3x square y square times x plus y
Into z
is there. All right. So first solution we got, isn't it? By method of grouping. Now we are trying the second solution. So to get the second solution, first of all, I'm choosing the set of multiplier as a y and x only for first two ratios, such that each of these ratio is equal to the new ratio, fourth ratio. So what that fourth ratio is, by selecting y and x as a set of multiplier for first two ratios, the ratio becomes y into dx plus x into dy upon y into 1 plus x into 1, isn't it? So each of these ratio is equal to the fourth ratio. So each of this ratio means this third ratio is equal to the fourth ratio. So I'm equating it with the only third ratio. What is that? dz upon 1 plus 2xy plus 3x square y square times x plus y into z. Is there any doubt with this step? We are choosing a set of multiplier only for first two ratios. such that each of these ratio is equal to the fourth ratio, but I'm equating it with the only third ratio, isn't it? Because I'm interested in only third ratio. So if we look at these, this y and x, y plus x or x plus y will get cancelled with this x plus y term. So what we are having on the left hand side, y dx plus x dy. I think we have discussed such term in earlier that in method of grouping, or I think somewhere there, that we can combine it. This is a derivative of something. What is that? Just think over it.
XY.
Derivative of xy. This is derivative of xy by product rule, isn't it? So that is dz upon 1 plus 2xy plus 3xy square. So if we look at these two into z, right? If you look at these two, this is d of xy, and here we are having a function of xy, x square y square. No? So xy and xy the whole square. All right. So still the variables are not separated. So I can write here d of xy is equal to dz upon 1 plus 2xy plus 3x square y square. Is it visible? Is the last step visible?
Yeah.
Into z. All right. 1 plus 2xy plus 3x square y square into z. Now what we are doing? We will substitute for this xy as a new variable. So let us substitute xy is equal to, say, v. So let xy is equal to v. So what we'll get? For xy is equal to v, right? We can substitute here. Derivative of v, that is dv, is equal to dz upon 1 plus 2v plus 3v square, isn't it? 3v square into z. Now, is it variable separable form, or is it possible to get variable separable form? Yes. How do I get a variable separable form? 1 plus 2v plus 3v square into dv is equal to dz upon z. This is variable separable form in new variable v and z. So once we have a variable separable form, integrate it. So integrate with respect to v on the left hand side. So what we'll have? V plus 2v square by 2 plus 3v cube by 3. 3 will get cancelled, 2 will get cancelled, is equal to log z plus c1 or c2. And now resubstitute the value of v. So what is v? V is xy. So xy plus x square y square plus x cube y cube minus log z is equal to c2, and that is the second solution, which is completely linearly independent of the first. You can check. So is it okay? So here we are getting the first solution by method of grouping, but to get the second solution, we use a multiplier, set of multiplier only for the first two ratios to cancel out one term in the third ratio. Once we get cancel that term, and we are selecting, or we are substituting the common term xy as a v, isn't it, to get the variable separable form. And once we have variable separable form, we have integrated it. Please ask if any doubt in this. This is completely different. Any doubt? Can you try the 7th on the same basis? Similar question, right? Similar same. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So the 7th sum is same. Only the functions are different, exponential, sine, and x square, y square. So on the same basis, you have to try the 7th one. Don't solve here. This is for homework. So let us proceed with the next step, next topic. Is it okay up to this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So this is what all about the symmetric and simultaneous linear differential equations. Now the last topic, last part of this unit, the whole unit, as an application. As I told you in the last lecture that the only application in your branch is the application to electric circuit of linear differential equation, isn't it? How do we solve the circuits, or how to find the current or the charge flowing through the circuit with the help of solution of differential equations. So first of all, the thing is that from the given problem, if it is based on the finding current or the charge, then based on that model, you have to model that whole circuit into mathematical form. That is called the mathematical modeling. So that mathematical modeling will be a formation of differential equation here in this case, as a formation of differential equation of electric circuit. And once we have a differential equation, we solve it using the techniques we have discussed, isn't it? To get the current flowing through the circuit or charge through the circuit. So basically, just like in mechanics, all the laws, or not all, but most of the laws are associated with what? Newton's laws, is it, in mechanics. So in similar manner, in electronics, most of the laws are associated with what? Kirchhoff's laws, isn't it? Kirchhoff's voltage laws or Kirchhoff's current laws, is it? And by Ohm's laws also. So first of all, if we want to model the circuit into mathematical form, then what do only the thing we need as a voltage drops across the components, we can say voltage drops across the resistor, or voltage drop across the capacitor, or voltage drop across the inductor, is it? Inductor. These are the three components you might have discussed in 12th and in M2 also, right? So this is just a revision. Let us discuss about the Ohm's law first. What the Ohm's law says, if we consider the current flowing through the resistor, then what the Ohm's law says? Yes? What is the statement of Ohm's law?
Current is directly proportional to the potential difference flowing through the circuit, or vice
Right.
versa.
Current is directly proportional to the potential difference, right, flowing through the circuit, if there is a difference. But if we consider a circuit with no EMF, no battery, then the current is directly proportional to the potential. Or if we consider a component, then current flowing through the component is directly proportional to the potential across the component. Or in particular, if I consider a resistor, then what the Ohm's law associated with the resistor? Yes, V or E. Let us say potential as a capital E or V. It is EMF, na, electromotive force. So we can denote it by capital V or capital E. So here the Ohm's law says for the resistor, E is directly proportional to what? I, na? Right? E is directly proportional to I. And if we call that proportionality constant for the resistor to be capital R, then E is equal to IR, is the Ohm's law, or the voltage drop across resistor. Am I right? Hello?
Yeah.
So E is equal to IR is the Ohm's law. See, I am from mathematics background, so if I am telling something wrong or something different, then please let me know, isn't it? It is not necessary that I should know everything, but you are a core student, isn't it? ANTSys electronic student, so you should know everything, that Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's laws. So as per my knowledge, current is directly proportional to the electromotive force. So that is E is directly proportional to what? Current, isn't it? And if you consider that proportionality constant to be R for the resistor, then E is equal to IR. If we consider a current flowing through the capacitor, then what is the Ohm's law for the capacitor? Yes, that potential drop or EMF is inversely proportional to, is it inversely or directly? For the capacitor with the capacitance C,
Inversely.
proportional to the charge, right, flowing through the circuit. So that is E is equal to, or what is that Ohm's law for the capacitor? Yes, E is equal to, hello, E is directly proportional to 1 by C, that is inversely proportional to C. And if we consider Q as a proportionality constant, then it will be E is equal to Q by C. Is it correct? I don't think it is correct. So that is the Ohm's law. The potential drop across the resistor, it is say E with respect to R resistor, then E is equal to IR is the voltage drop or potential across the resistor by Ohm's law. Then for the capacitor, EC, C for the capacitor is equal to what? Q by C for the capacitor, is it? Where C is the capacitance of the capacitor, R is the resistance of the resistor. And if we consider a voltage drop across the inductor, then EL will be equals to what? Yes, or E, that potential is directly proportional to what? A rate of instantaneous time or instantaneous rate of current, right? E is directly proportional to, yes, di by dt. Please check, is it correct? And the proportionality constant is L. So E is equal to L di by dt. Please check. So this is a voltage drop across inductor. This is voltage drop across capacitor, and this is voltage drop across resistor by Ohm's law. Right? So, and there is one more law which is very important, Kirchhoff's law. What the Kirchhoff's law says: if you consider a circuit involving various components like resistor, capacitor, or the inductor, then the algebraic sum of all the voltage drop across the circuit or the loop is equal to what? The total EMF, total electromotive force, or it is equal to 0 if we consider that EMF to be negative. Then algebraic sum of all those voltage drop across the circuit, the whole circuit, is equal to 0. Am I right? So if we consider a circuit involving a resistor and capacitor, please check the notations also if it is correct. If it is not correct, then let me know. I'm considering the circuit without EMF. Then with this circuit, we can model a differential equation by Kirchhoff's law. What the Kirchhoff's law says: algebraic sum of voltage drop across resistor, algebraic sum of voltage drop across resistor plus voltage drop across capacitor plus voltage drop across any component if it is there, equal to what? 0. So since we have only 2, then what is voltage drop across resistor? IR. So IR plus what is voltage drop across capacitor? Yes, what is voltage drop across capacitor? Q by C is equal to 0 because there is no EMF electromotive force. So with this, I can form a differential equation. How? Yes, how to get a differential equation there? I know that current is the rate of flow of what? Charge. I can write I in terms of Q, that is dQ by dt R plus Q by C is equal to 0. And then this is a linear differential equation in capital Q. Q is a dependent variable, and what is independent variable? T. So I can solve this for Q in terms of T. So that will be the charge flowing through the circuit, and with the help of charge I can find the current flowing through the circuit. How? Once I'll get Q, the value of Q, I can integrate it, I can differentiate it, that will by my current flowing through the circuit. Is it okay? Is it clear? Or is it correct? First of all, let me ask you. Is it correct? Hello? Hello, am I audible? Hello? Please unmute your mic, please. Okay, no one is interested to reply. Anyways, so if I consider the circuit involving this, then this is a differential equation. If I consider a circuit involving, say, inductor and a resistor, suppose, with EMF, isn't it? Say E, then the differential equation, inductor, this is inductor, but there must be two lines, isn't it? So the differential equation associated with this circuit is what? Voltage drop across inductor is L di by dt. Voltage drop across resistor is Ri, is equal to the total electromotive force as a capital E. So this is a differential equation associated with this circuit. All right. So in this way, based on the circuit, we can model into a differential equation by mathematical modeling, by considering the voltage drops, isn't it? And by Kirchhoff's laws. And then we know how to solve such linear differential equation as a function of independent variable. All right. So we are going to discuss the example based on this in the next lecture, and that will be the final last lecture of this whole unit. Actually, I was supposed to finish this topic today only, but it's time now. It's already 10:59. All right. So please ask if any doubt later. Thank you. Maybe you'll be having